Thank you. So for me, this all started a couple of months ago when I realized something strange. That if you took the most average 16-year-old born in Spain and asked that person how interest works, what happens when you don't pay a loan, or how to open a bank account, they would most likely struggle. But if you then took that same person and asked them the difference between modernism and the 1898 generation in Spanish literature, if they were born in Spain, they would probably know. And if by chance I asked all of you guys if you knew the price of a stock, for example, gold, which may be a bit weird at first, but actually makes a lot of sense when you start thinking about it, think in your minds. Do you actually know it? Do you wake every morning up and see the price of gold? Well, for me, that's not the case. And for a long time, I thought that the problem with Spain's financial literacy was that we were taught wrong, that our education was incorrect. But as I've gone throughout this talk, I've seen that maybe it's something deeper, something cultural. See, I went through the entire Spanish national education system. I memorized endless dates, equations, and definitions that I honestly cannot even remember anymore. Yet never was I once asked how to manage a salary, what inflation does to my savings, or how to open a bank account or read a light bill. And for many adults, that might seem as normal. But for me, I only discovered economics once I stumbled across a man on the metro reading a book on behavioral economics. Now, at first, it seemed a bit weird. I remember the title of the book that was Thinking Fast and Slow, and I didn't know exactly what it meant, nor the concept itself, but I looked it up, and I started discovering an entire world that explains why we save, why we spend, and why money feels so emotional. For a long time, I didn't understand it, but I thought that that discovery didn't come from school. It came from curiosity. It came from myself. And from that point onward, I started thinking that maybe Spain doesn't lack education or intelligence. It lacks conversation about financial literacy. And from that moment, I also started thinking about another concept. And it all started again when a friend of mine, which was in an exchange to the US, told me that his family abroad in Christmas dinner started talking about their fourth quarter earnings, their investments, and their returns. He sat there, completely lost, not because he didn't understand or because he wasn't smart, but because, well, I mean, who in Spain talks about that at Christmas? In Spain, Christmas is about who made the best croquetas or whether Madrid will win the league. But we talk about family, food, and stories from the year, never about interest rates. And that's beautiful. It's what makes us us. But it means that money, how it moves, how it works, and everything that it has to do with has never really been part of our tradition. And it also means that in order to discover it, we need to think outside the box. It also means that our grandparents kept their savings under their mattress. Our parents avoided risks, and my generation grew up stuck with financial tools we were never taught to use. Maybe it's something that doesn't have to do with our culture, and it has to do with the fact that we only discover money when it's already a problem or it's already too late. The fact that, according to the OECD, Spain ranks 21st out of 38 countries in financial literacy, and only about 25% of students feel confident making basic financial decisions compared to over 50 in France or the US. And that the Bank of Spain, one of the most prominent figures in this field, reports that nearly half of adults under 35 have no savings, and 6 in 10 don't understand interest, inflation, or investment. But this is a reality for Spain, because in Spain, regardless of the political figure or party in power, if you lose your job, you will never run out of food. If you don't invest your income, you can still have a house. And if you don't start a business, you can still live perfectly. You can have a stable pay and a promised pension line. And that seems to keep us comfortable. But the reality is that Spain was built on the land of state workers. There's never really been any incentive, need, or motivation to, treat our money as a valuable asset instead of just a means to reach the end of the month. And the problem with that is that it goes even deeper. Spain comes from a civil war, from periods of instability and crisis. We come from the fact that our ancestors really haven't had any need or motivation to move money like we're taught today. And the fact that we've also grown with the idea that financial literacy is boring. So the problem is that we should consider financial literacy as if it were language literacy itself. And other countries are already doing that. Instead of focusing on standardized testing or one-time moments to teach such matters, we should maybe focus more on the fact that it's like language literacy. A single class of English grammar won't allow you to read an entire Shakespeare novel. And similarly, a single class on credit card debt, investment, or funds will not teach you to be Warren Buffett himself. And that makes us think again that education is not the only problem in this matter. And it makes us think that sometimes we have to go beyond, and to break ancient traditions, to move and make changes across generations, we have to try to change little things that will have a big impact. Things that you don't think really from now on, but that have progress around generations. Imagine if, alongside philosophy, we taught decision making. If alongside maths, we learned compound interest. If alongside history, we learned how economies grow and sometimes even collapse. Imagine a state where students create mock portfolios or simulate businesses, not to turn everyone into investors, but so no one grows up scared of their first bank statement. Imagine a country where we allow all Spaniards to actually have a chance to understand the money we live in. But not only that, but to thrive with it. Imagine if we took our next generation and we took our values, our traditions, and our culture, and we pushed it forward to something that's even more powerful. To carry our way of life thinking that money is actually something worth it to speak about. Thank you very much.